So in May, early May, it was after a Saturday night. It was probably a Disney night with a couple kids. I went and I checked my email. On the email, what it said was that there's a half Ironman that's coming to town. Now, I have written out a list of 100 things I want to do before I die. And I wrote down an Ironman, but I didn't write down a half Ironman. It's like, you know, we want to be president. Who wants to be vice president? And so I checked this out, and I'm like, you know, I haven't trained at all for it. It's not on my radar to do it. But let's see when this is. It was in 2 weeks. So I was like, well, that's obviously out of the question. But for some reason, it stuck in my head, Rob, are you going to let fear get in the way of you doing this half Ironman? And I'm trying to answer fear. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, because I haven't trained for it. As a matter of fact, like, I don't bike. For a half Ironman, it's a 1.2 mile swim, open water. It's a 56 mile bike, and then it's a 13.1 mile run all together. And I don't bike. I haven't biked in 10 years. I don't even know to bike. Why am I going to sign up for half Ironman? That's the conversation I'm having in my head. We all have this conversation. So I call up my buddy Bill, and I said, Bill, like, do you have an extra bike maybe I'd be able to train with? He said, absolutely. You can even use it for the race. I'm like, great. So I actually end up and I sign up for it. I've got 10 days to train for this race that I haven't trained for. Why do I want to do this stuff? Well, because of my career and what I have to do, I got to put myself out there. And so 2-a-day workouts for the next 10 days, and then I rest for 2 days and then do the race. Now, the day before the race starts, and I'm talking with Bill. Bill's bike is the one that I'm borrowing. And I ask him, by chance, Bill, what happens if I get a flat tire out there on the race? He's like, would you know how to change it? And I said, no. He said, well, then don't worry about it. I said, great, okay, one last thing to worry about. But he tells me, he says, look, these are gator skin tires. I've had over 2,000 miles on these tires. You're not going to get a flat tire. You're going to be fine. Awesome. Race comes. Swim goes fine. I'm on the bike, and you can kind of see where this is going. I'm on the bike, and this is a 2-loop, so it's 56 mile bike. This is a 2-loop, trail for the bike, and it's at mile 30. And at mile 30, I'm cresting this hill. It's like the only hill in Indiana. It's true. It's like the only hill I come across, and this has a significant part because as I'm going up the hill at mile 30, I'm passing this guy. And I feel my back tire go flat. It goes flat. I ask him, I said, is my tire flat? He says, it sure is. We get to the top of the hill, he takes off, and I have to dismount my bike. Now, I feel like I'm a 4 or 5-year-old kid because I'm completely helpless. Like, I have no idea what I want to do. I want to, like, call somebody. As a matter of fact, I set my bike down. I run to a house that's there, try banging on the door, just saying, you know, I got to call a race director or something. Somebody's got to come out here and help me because nobody's going to stop. And as I'm at the top of the hill and I run back out there and I'm just waiting 5 minutes, you know, I'm helpless. And I'm thinking in my head, the race is over. Like, I can't believe you trained for 10 days, you put all your life on hold. But I was thinking, I was like, I can't believe that this race is going to end. And people are cresting the hill, and as they crest the hill and they just keep on going. And as they crest the hill, this one guy stops and says, do you have anything to change the tire? I said, I don't have anything. So he takes his tube, takes the material to fix it, and hands me the cartridge in order to blow it up and says, here you go. And as he stops, another guy stops at the same time and says, do you know what you're doing? I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. Please help. He dismounts his bike. This is a racer in the race. He dismounts his bike, gets off his bike, and starts changing the tire for me. And this is somebody that's in the same race, like the clock's still going as we do this. And I'm amazed at the time, and I'm asking the guy's name, like, what is your name? What is your name? Because I don't want to forget it. His name was Glenn Mayhew, lived up in South Bend. And he was the one that actually changed my tire. After about 20 minutes of this whole ordeal, we both get on our bikes together and then we go. But if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Glenn, the race would have been over. Like, he was such a hinge moment that I had no idea that that person was going to be available for me. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this guy stops his own race to help somebody like me? You know, it didn't really hit me until later on because I finished the race. It hurt, but I finished it. That was the only goal. You know what really hit me a couple days later was this, is I started asking myself, Rob, would you have stopped? And I can't tell you that honestly I would have said, yeah, absolutely, I would have stopped. Because when I get in race mode, when I get in competitive mode, the last thing I want to do is stop and help somebody else. I'll do that, but he realized that the race was really the human race. It wasn't just this Ironman. He didn't have to stop, didn't have to help me, but I asked myself that question, would you have stopped? Would you have stopped? Would you have stopped? Normally, I'm pretty judgmental. I'm like, boy, that's that guy's problem. He's got a flat tire. He should have prepared better. And it totally changed the way that I look at all situations in life, because what I really believe is that if we help enough people get to where they want to go, we're going to get to where we want to go.